What's up, everybody? It's Tony Mosey, and today I want to talk about my experiences doing a prolonged fast between 24 hours versus 48 hours and 72 hours. So, just to give a little bit of an idea, well, I went on this journey about 2019, 2020, especially around the pandemic. I knew that I wanted to change my diet up, and I was then 225 pounds. I got on the weight loss journey after seeing myself at a networking event. Actually, someone took a picture of me, and I was in a button-up shirt. Basically, if I breathed in the wrong way, the buttons were just going to, they were just gonna just pop everywhere. And when I saw that, it made me want to get on that journey because I was 225 pounds and I was obese at 6 feet, 6 feet tall. So I went on the journey, started changing my diet up, and then I got into some fasting, and I noticed a lot of benefits from fasting. It was one thing, I was changing my diet, to eat foods that didn't have sugars and whatnot, or processed foods or junk. What really or ramped up my weight loss was the fasting. So I would do intermittent fasting, which of course is anywhere between, one could philosophize about it, but it could be anywhere between 12 to 18 hours or basically anything under 24 hours. But then also when I incorporated prolonged fasting, so that's 24 hours and up. When I started doing 36-hour fasting, 48-hour fasting, 3-day fasting, that was when I started seeing the significant weight change, weight change. So I have done this now since 2019, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of an anecdote, personal anecdote of how I felt during these different phases. Now, just to give a little foundation here, I want to talk about what I felt briefly doing fast before the 24-hour kicked in. So at 12 hours, I would find myself a little hungry, right? Because I haven't eaten in a while. When you're used to eating 6 meals a day, large meals, you're eating morning, evening, nighttime, late night. That was what I was doing. A lot of carbohydrates, everything. You have an expectation. Your body, your mind has formed an expectation of eating. And that expectation, can be a very big challenge because it could be somewhat of an illusion that you are hungry when you're not, especially after you've eaten several rounds of food. So at 12 hours, especially in the beginning, I was hungry. Around this time, I would go to the gym. Obviously, nothing happened there. I don't feel crazy, because I still, in a sense, kind of have food that's kind of digesting. I have fat reserves, of course, and that's what I try to also, I'm going to talk about in a little bit as we get through the next phases of fasting. And that was fine. When I get to 16 hours, things would kick up a little bit. And again, this was the first several months of me doing this back in 2019, 2020. First 16 hours of not eating was, was pretty interesting. Telling myself to go to the gym while fasting. I also at the time did not know about the whole benefits of electrolytes and really hydrating and doing other things while fasting. So I kind of was drinking water and also putting out a video of what I do right before a fast and what I do right after the fast, because that's also super important too. Right up to 24 hours, pretty much, it could be a little bit of a struggle, especially for the newbies. But nowadays, when I get up to 24 hours, it's easy. It's easy for me, and I believe it would be easy for you too once you build that momentum. 24 hours in, right? When I go right around 24, a little bit above it, I actually don't feel crazy hungry as well. So now we're in the prolonged section, right? 24 hours and up. I don't feel as hungry, right? I think my main challenge is when I get to 48 to 72 hours, right? Around this time when I get to, especially, it's one thing is 24 hours. If I break the fast at 24, I will have diarrhea. Meaning like if I eat like a big meal after 24 hours, I will have diarrhea. Basically your body shuts down. It says, look, we're not eating. So it just, so it's not digesting anything. So if I eat anything big, my stomach will suffer. So after this mode, this is where I have to be very sensitive about what I put in my stomach, whether I stop the fast at 24 versus 72 hours. But I keep going, pretty much try to persevere, right? Right around the 24 to 48 hours, I think I'm still doing okay. I could just get away with a little bit with water. It's when I hit the 48th hour is when I actually start putting in electrolytes. Because now at the 48th hour till I get to the 72nd hour is the most challenging, I feel. I am hungry. My mind is playing tricks on me. It's just super unbearable, just constantly just drinking electrolytes, just consuming salt and potassium in the form of cream of tartar. That was what I found out to put my electrolytes with. I have also been doing magnesium. So I have this 3-in-1 kind of magnesium supplement, and it's more like for like the body. And then there's another one called magnesium L-threonate, which is more for the brain. And I would take those too, at least 2 to 3 times a day. But it's just unbearable from 48 to 72 hours. Through time, I started noticing small little hacks. I started purchasing mineral water. I'll probably put that somewhere so you could see. I purchased that kind of mineral water. Before I was doing San Pellegrino, but now I'm doing, I think it's called Mountain sparkling mineral water. And then I also got Element, which I'll also put a link in that description as well, so you could, check out the different types of Element. And I would do Element Raw, which is pretty much, that's a flavor that just has no sugar. It's just salt, potassium, and magnesium. And I've grown to now drinking that at least 2 to 3 times a day, because sometimes I can't make it through without either feeling hungry or just feeling exhausted or cramps or whatever. And I'm starting to learn that electrolytes is my friend, and I'm fine with it. I'll even check out my blood pressure, and I'm finding out now that it's not salt that's the culprit of high blood pressure. It is sugar that's the culprit of high blood pressure. And because of the fact that I've started ditching sugars, taking that away, and carbohydrates, my blood pressure has been the lowest I've ever seen since high school. So about 120 to anywhere, and the diastolic could be anywhere between 58 to 70. And it could range, the systolic could be anywhere between 118 to about 122. So it's good seeing those numbers. Yeah, and I want to also say it's interesting when you do these fasts, because your body really gets to know what can you really eat. It's one thing you go to an allergist, and I may have said this before, but you go to an allergist and they do the finger or the forearm press. They press that test of all the different allergens into your forearm, and they do a test version or control test on one, and the other one is the actual, the real antibodies of it. And you get to see what you're allergic to. But I really believe also there's other things out there that it may not say in an allergy test that you're allergic to, but you could be. Like, I'm noticing that I can't eat a lot of GMO, genetically modified fruits. I get hives and itching, like at least minor form. So it's really cool to see that, because you also notice that when you fast and you return back to foods, your body somehow gravitates towards eating whole foods, eating foods that our ancestors from hundreds and thousands and maybe even millions of years ago like. So for me, it could be vegetables, it could be fruits, but it's definitely steak it's definitely chicken, and it's actually grass-fed, grass-finished. So it's the non-processed meats, the not, you know, the fruits and vegetables perhaps that do not have pesticides in them, right, or genetically modified. It's all those things that are pure, whole, organic, grass-fed, grass-finished foods. So that's a really cool thing to know too, that it resets your body for that. So from going from 48 to 72 hours, I encounter that really like the final boss of hunger and stress and maybe even starvation, maybe. But then when I hit the 72nd hour, it all goes away. Like, I don't know, like it all of a sudden, out of all the feelings that I have, like I feel, maybe it's because the body, you know, is like, come on, it's complaining, and then it says, well, if you can't beat them, join them. And so at the 72nd hour, I don't feel that anymore. And granted, during almost all these levels of fast, I'm exercising. But I'm learning now that as I get towards the latter half of the fasting stages, I actually tone it down on the kind of lifting. So if I'm doing intermittent fasting, 24-hour fasting, 36 to 48, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna work out. Like as time goes by, I work out, either the intensity of it goes super high, and then of course it starts to wane and go lower. So as I get into more like the 72nd hour, 48 plus hour, I start doing less. I do light lifting, and I'll do some light treadmill. I'm not running. I'm doing like I'm walking at like 3 miles per hour versus the typical 7, 8, or 9 miles per hour that I would do on either non-fasting days or days that, I just fast under 48 hours. And I think the key to all of this, as you're going through it, and a common theme of it, is constantly hydrating, consuming salt, a little potassium, especially if you're exercising, because they say if you pair fasting with exercising is where you get the biggest fat or weight loss, right? And I noticed that. Recent time, I did a 3-day fast, did a 72-hour fast, and I went from 190, it was 193, I think, around this time, or 194, and I got down to 189, and that was in 3 days. That was great. And it's really cool. And this has happened to me before. And that's what got me from 225 obese to 182, with a body fat percentage of 14.2% at 6 feet tall. Conversion, I think that is, 172 centimeters? I'm forgetting about that. But I remember that was about 70 something or 80 something kilos. We'll have to put the conversions in the video. But the true challenge again was within that one period, because it's from 24 to 48 is one thing. From 48 to 72, that was tough. From 72 beyond, I don't know if it is like just a roller coaster, because I'm actually aiming on doing a 5-day fast. That's what I'm doing right now, and perhaps I will have to document that too in another video. Right now, so far, I'm at 50 hours. I've done 72-hour fast. This is going to be like my 4th time doing it. These past few years, and I found out that it's actually okay to sprinkle in 72-hour fasts minimum once a month, maximum, some people would say as far as once a week, or whatever, or once every other week. But I want to do definitely a 3-day fast or a 72-hour fast once a month, with an intermittent fast, a few times a week, right? And I always say, everyone, you have accidentally intermittent fasted. If you stop eating food at 7 or 6, the next time you eat in the morning is at 10 or 11. And how does that happen sometimes? Maybe you're in a rush because you have to, take people, you have to drive your kids to school, or you have to drive to a job, or you get to the job and you get to the office, and then you have all these tasks that you have to do, and then you forget that you have to do, you forgot already that you have to eat, and then it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, it's afternoon, and finally you eat. Well, guess what? You accidentally intermittent fasted, or you fasted, you just didn't know. So I hope this was valuable. Just understanding that you're going to be challenged. There's going to be a part, maybe, especially if you're new to this, before you could get to 72 hours. You should definitely work up to it. I tell everybody about this. Before you do that, work up into a 12-hour fast, then 14 or 16, then 18, then 24. And spread them out, right? So if you do a 24-hour fast, or if you did a 16-hour fast, wait till the next week to start doing another 16-hour fast. And keep doing it as a repetition for that first month. And then consider doing the 24-hour or the prolonged fast. And work up incrementally into that. Because if you're not used to fasting, you're used to just eating, you're gonna struggle. And in the next video, I'm gonna talk about how you should go on to your fast, how you should prepare, and then how you can get off a fast without wrecking yourself. Because those are the two, as much as you're fasting between 24 to 72 hours or 5 days, it's what you do right before it and what you do right after it that is even more important. So I'm Tony Mosey. Thank you so much for listening, and please leave a like if you like this video. Send some comments below. Encourage other people in there. Have a discussion. I'll jump in there too. And let's get healthy together.